Hey everybody, this is Matt Ogle with VYPE Media, and this is the Coach's Corner. I'm located in Houston right now, but I'm happy to show some love to programs that deserve it all over the state of Texas, and one of which is definitely Pieper. That's how you pronounce it, correct?
It is.
The Pieper Warriors, if I'm not mistaken.
We are.
And we got Coach Courtney Patton, the head coach of this program, which is still very young. You told me that this is just the third year that the program has been a varsity one. So tell me, how has it been, this process, building it from the ground up? And now it's starting to really pick up speed as you go along. And now you have a senior class that you started with from the very beginning. So talk to me about that and what the process has been like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we opened 4 years ago with just a freshman and sophomore class. Prior to opening Pieper, I was actually at Smithson Valley, which is just up the road from us. And so we basically took a little bit of their southern attendance zone off of their attendance. So when we opened that sophomore class, were my freshmen at Smithson Valley. I was able to bring with me not a large chunk of kids, but at least some kids who were familiar with my style of coaching. So they were the sophomores when we opened. And then this year's seniors were our first class of freshmen when we opened. Building with those two classes, and then as they've gone through, it's been really unique. We were able to establish all the traditions. We were able to establish the culture that we wanted, and then, set the expectation for what it's going to look like, and then grow every year. So, the beginning, our first year in varsity, it was like the goal was to make the playoffs, and we just barely missed that. And then the next year we were like, no, we're going to make it this year. But then it was a learning curve of understanding that where you fall in district then positions you, against your competition in round one. And so then that was a learning curve. And so, this year going in, I think the girls have a different mindset. They've at least made it to the playoffs, but they realized that just making it wasn't enough. They're still hungry for more. And they realize that coming in a better position in district will then seed them for a better place in the playoffs.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, you always want to find the next step, what you can do to process, or at least visualize and execute what you set your goal to at the beginning of the season. And I mean, clearly y'all have done that. Y'all have started to really check some boxes off in terms of your expectations. So talk to me. Like I said, you started with these girls from the very beginning. Can you detail some of the kind of the premier athletes you've been able to coach over the last few years that now have made an impact in this fall?
Yeah, absolutely. So, two kids that actually a few kids immediately come to mind. And so of our senior class, there's a good chunk of them. Kat Lopez is our setter. She's been running the offense. So she and I think very similarly in the sense of like who we're setting, why we're setting, and how we're running our offense. And that's the beauty of having had her for 4 straight years now, So Kat Lopez is definitely a strength in our leadership and in running our offense. Beyond her, we have Chloe Monson on the outside. The kids like to chant Monster Monson. She's by far our kill leader on our team. She carries us with her powerful swings. And like I said, she's also just a strong leader. And again, having those kids now for 4 years, they kind of have the same expectation and the same mental thought process that I do when we're in those tight matches, which is really nice. And then I think probably one of the other key factors for us that's a senior this year is Caroline Peterson. She's one of my middles. Again, had her for 4 years now. And so the beauty there is that she understands the tempo that we need to be running. She understands the expectation on being up and being available in the middle so that our outsides and our right sides can catch some splits in the block. So she's done a really good job at establishing herself in the big matches.
It is a very impressive regime, I should say. I mean, like I said, beginning, I already got a list of the players. You were listing them off as I went along.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's an impressive stat line they're putting it up. And as I noticed, it's actually it's incredibly well balanced, I would say. Clearly, like you said, Chloe is definitely the kill leader, but there's still a lot of other really impressive contributors I'm looking on this list right now. Mm-hmm. And of course, you got to have those reliable pieces in the back. I mean, obviously a 6 rotation is It's necessary. It's necessary. I could go on for a lot longer, but I got to move on. You talked about culture just earlier. Tell me, what do you think that you brought over from Smithson Valley, and in your experience, perhaps
Sure.
as both a player and a coach, that you've established here? How do you define it in terms of the culture you're hoping to continue to build?
So, I think it's important that the kids are enjoying the game. I think it's important that they're having fun with each other, but at the same time, being really disciplined, being disciplined about our fundamentals, being disciplined about who we are, what we do, how we do things. And I think that speaks volumes as to the success that these girls are having, because they do find a way to remain disciplined before the games, during the games, in our practices. They go hard against each other, and as a coach, that's all you can ask for. But that discipline is definitely rooted in our culture of doing the right thing and going hard.
Awesome. Awesome. Seems pretty straightforward, but all right. You also, now that you're going to try to make that next step for this program that's now 4 years old as a whole, you do compete in a very difficult district, I would say. You got Bernie Champion. New Braunfels is actually becoming very impressive in terms of the contention whenever it comes to those four
For sure.
key spots to making it to the postseason. So what is the mindset as you kind of begin to get ready for this district portion of your schedule in the back half of the season that you think
Sure.
can help to provide you the opportunity to move past the first round of the playoffs as the goal is this year?
Right. Well, it's no surprise and it's no secret that our district is incredibly tough. From the get-go, when the UIL put out our district, I immediately said, this is going to be a dogfight every night. There are no nights off. And we talked about that as a team and as a program during the off season. There's no nights off. There's no days off in the off season. We have to prepare ourselves to be able to come in every single day and have to go at it hard. From the top to the bottom of our district, any single one of those teams could be a playoff contender, And so as we've gone through district and started district, we've been lucky enough to stick to our game plan and come up with some wins along the way. And something that I keep telling the girls is celebrate today and move on tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day and another opponent. And so we get to celebrate today and tonight, but then tomorrow is a new day and a new opponent, and we've got to refocus in. So, that's kind of the mindset that we have to continue pushing into the kids' brains, is that just celebrate today, but move on tomorrow.
I mean, I think that short memory is going to it should pay dividends, whether you win or lose, because you don't want to become overconfident or you don't want to get too down on yourself after a loss, if that's the case. And I mean, it also can relate to how things went last year. Like today, this is a new year. You're going to be facing newer opponents. So, well, it's going to be really enticing to see what's going to transpire later this year. It's going to be, I think, the first week of November is when the playoffs roll around, and we're definitely hoping to see you all there to represent some SATX. And
Yeah.
it's going to be, like you said, it's going to be a dogfight. Playoffs are a whole different animal. So like we said, we're hoping to see you all there. Anyways, this has been Coach Courtney Patton in the Coach's Corner with Matt Ogle and VYPE Media. Thank you so much for your time, Coach, and we will see you all at the games.
Sounds good. Thanks so much.
No problem.